Thought I'd try something different. Anyway, guys, Lachlan from FAE AP, Australia Pacific, down here in not so sunny Melbourne, as I'm sure you can hear the rain. Well, I hope you can't hear the rain through the microphone. But anyway, I've come down overnight. I want to do some videos for you guys. I want to do a bit of walkthrough on a few different options. So we're filming best we can today. Yeah, so today in front of me right now, this video, be present, mindfulness, all the above. We're looking at a BL2 SEX. Give her a good old. And then the BL4 EX. Ooh. That's the engine hood so you can get in there. Anyway, so guys, we have the BL2 SEX and then the BL4 EX. So we're looking at a 125 variable here, and we're looking at a 150 variable here. So the BL4 comes in a 125 and a 150. The BL2 comes in just a 125 option. There is a BL3 in between. There's also a BL2 on the back end. There's a BL1, there's a BL0, there's a BL5. However, this is what I had. This is what I had access to when it comes to the forklift and everything else that's packed in multiples over there. Yeah, so I thought I'd go over these two. Obviously show you the BL rotor on the other side, the hydraulic hood on this one. We can talk about the differences, but this is the full ins and outs of what we call our middle to larger range BLs. So your BL2S, you're looking at sort of 11 to 16 ton, depending on tilt hitch, tilt rotator, high and wide, size of shoes, length of dipper. There's a few variables obviously involved when it comes to, you know, lining the implements up with the digger that they're going on, as well as such things as, you know, how many circuits you've got for hydraulics on the front, if you want to run a Sonic model, if you want to run a VT model. Again, a few other things we'll go into in a little bit shortly. But yeah, you're looking at a 125 for this unit, so 11 to 16 ton, and then you're looking sort of 18 to 25 ton for your BL4. If we start at the top, work our way down the same way we did for our BL1 that we did a little bit earlier, in regards to controls. So I mentioned tilt rotator, you know, grapple saws, tilt rotating grapple saws, sorry, rotating grapple saws, not tilt rotating grapple saws. Depending on how many circuits you've got on the units, most guys 11 to 16 ton, they're going to have a tilt hitch. If they don't, they're just running a quick hitch. Great, we can utilize that secondary auxiliary circuit. With your BL4s, most guys are only going to be running a quick hitch mostly these days. 235 options, you could put these on, but I'd probably go the next size down because it's zero swing, not conventional. This is more suited to your conventional, you know, 210s, 220s, 240s. We could even push this to sort of, yeah, your 250, 260, even a 270 scenario. So depending on the amount of circuits you've got free, we can have either it completely plumbed in, so you'll have the ability to spin the rotor, control the hydraulic hood. If you don't want the thumb option, control the hydraulic hood via that secondary auxiliary line. If you want the thumb, which you'll see on the outside of that BL4, your hood will become electric over hydraulic, which will be controlled by either a control box and or a few ways around that, either two-stage switches, preferably the control box. Obviously genuine FAE parts helps with anything that goes wrong. We can sort of back trace and all that sort of thing. Nothing that's been done on the dodgy. So again, there's a reason we're getting into the control boxes now. There's a VT model and there's a Sonic model, and I'm trying not to overcomplicate it anymore. The VT model will come with a two-stage switch. I'm not sure if you can hear that, ASMR. And then the Sonic model will come with the Sonic box, which is exactly the same as our Sonic on our skid steer options, except on the skid steer you've got the ability to control on your phone. There's not really a need for a third-party box anymore. Or on the Excavator model, you can control the Sonic on your phone, but you still control the hood with the box. So on this one, you've got the open and close of the door, you've got high, standard or low working settings, and then you've got the old calibration switch on the underside there. Obviously, when it comes to Sonic, best way I could sort of describe it to most people is VT, you've got an A and a B gear. You get to a certain pressure, it ticks over to that B gear, and then you're working within a limitation of two gears. So A and B, bear that in mind, A and B. When it comes to the Sonic, you've basically got an electric over hydraulic variable displacement motor. that'll work the full spectrum of that range. So it'll work from A through Z. So depending on what you're pushing into, depending on how your hydraulics are reacting on the digger, depending on the vegetation, depending on if it's light material, heavy material, all that sort of stuff, the Sonic will work in conjunction with your digger. Makes it about 30% more efficient. So that'll be heat dissipation, that'll be diesel burn, that'll be consumables on teeth, that'll be a bit of everything. It'll work with the unit, not work against it, you trying to force feed fluid through it. You can increase your tip speeds and lower your torque settings. You can lower your tip speeds and increase your torque settings. Lower your torque settings, increase your tip speeds. Lower your tip speeds, increase your torque settings. Again, it depends on what you're pushing into that day. Just gives you the ability to access a wider variety of work for those contractors, and then for those guys that are on their own property, gives you the ability to feel a bit more comfortable whatever you're pushing into, I suppose the best way to put it. There's not too much of a price difference, I'm going to be honest with you, in the unit sizes. I'm not going to give you prices because it will depend on multiple configuration options depending on what we're sort of looking at. So again, we all started at 2 or 3 hose, so you've got, or 5 hose, so you've got the ability to do 5 hose, you've got electric over hydraulic options, you've got, they obviously both run K-strain, so that is a big thing there. Same as the BL1s, we do our hoods, use your words, we do our head brackets locally here with hardwood forest products. Certain dealers prefer to do their own head brackets, which is perfectly fine. The head brackets from said dealers that choose to do their own will obviously fall on the warranty for that dealer. Hardwood Forest has worked in conjunction with us for quite a while. We'll obviously support any issues that arise from problems in welding or anything else. Not that they do, knock on wood, it's not wood, but knock on wood, we don't really have issues when it comes to the head brackets normally. We get your pin centers and ears and your pickups, and we're good to go from that point. I'm trying not to speak too fast. My ADHD is kicking in. So if we start to make our way a bit further down, you've got what we have, the rake here, or the bottom part of the thumb bracket. The thumb obviously goes over the top. You do have the ability to add the thumb on here. That's your electric over hydraulic plug, just for reference. You do have the ability to add the thumb onto this unit, or you can run a thumb on your dipper and use that as the bottom part, either way. If you don't want the thumb, you can still have said rake. If you don't want the rake, take the rake off. We don't need to charge you for said rake. It's obviously a bit of an additional bit of steel there. It is beneficial. You can pull your vegetation away from your fence lines. You can pull it out of gullies. You can drop it and spin it instead of using the housing in the mulcher. There's reasons we have that as an option because people ask for it. People need it. That's just a simple reality of it. So when it comes to the BL2S, as I said, they only come in the 125 size. The 4 comes in 125 and 150. That is a 150. They're both running the exact same rotor. So they both run a BL Bite Limiter rotor. So again, stops you pushing into timber too hard, helps the machine work a little bit better. That coupled with the Sonic, amazing. But yeah, helps you work the machine a little bit more efficiently, keeps tip speeds up, everything else, stops you putting undue stress on your hydraulic pumps. On the backside, a little bit of an OnlyFans shot there. On your backside, you've got the hydraulic door. Obviously, open up, push into your timber, come down, shoots ray out. We need to back mulch, close her up, take it back over the top, recirculates through the counter chamber or through your contour blades up on the underside. Gets you a finer product on the outside, basically. That's the whole idea of the hood. Ticks that safety box as well. You're working on I've got grease all over my hands. You work on the bigger projects, your tier 1s, your tier 2s. You need to tick that safety box. Even if you're just working around homes, sheds, businesses, streets, roads, whatever. If you're working for national parks, if you're working for soil con, there's certain aspects where you're going to need that hood. That's why we have it. After that, so if we start to get into the nitty gritties of it all, you're looking at 1342 working widths on the BL2S. You're looking at a total weight of just over a ton, 1,040 kilos. That's without the head bracket. So adding your head bracket on top, you're probably looking closer to a 15th over 1,100 kilos. And again, it'll depend on if you have an Eng-Con setup, a steel wrist, or if you're just running a standard quick hitch and or tilt hitch. When we move over to your BL4, you're looking at, same thing, 1347 for your 125 variables. For your 150 variables, you're up at 1587 working widths. Weight-wise, does jump up considerably, so you're going from, as mentioned, 1,040 kilos up to 1685 on that girl. And again, without head bracket. So adding, let's call it 150 kilos for the head bracket on obviously the bigger units, you're getting up there. Like, you're going to know the weights on the front if we don't marry it up to the right carrier for you. When it comes to teeth, you're looking at 22 teeth on these ones, and again 22 on your smaller versions of that, or 26 on your bigger ones. From a cut capacity perspective, you're looking at 300 mil on the BL4, and you're sort of looking at sort of 200 on your BL2S. Motor-wise, there is a bit of a difference in your motors. You're looking at 110/60cc variable torque motor on that unit, and then on your BL2S, you're looking at 80cc. So again, you sort of, we don't want to force feed fluid through a line where it's not going to become utilised. So your flow rates on your BL2S is 100 to 180 litres a minute. Your BL4, you're looking at sort of like your 140 up to 300 litres a minute. So there is a fair old difference there. Pressure-wise, much of a muchness, 180 to 350 bar, 220 to 350 bar. I'm looking around like a crazy person because I'm sort of just trying to work out what I haven't told you. The ram for the thumb is on the backside. Greasing that unit's every 40 hours. You'll see on the front you've got other grease points as well. So again, that's broken down on the third last page, I believe, off the top of the head. Third last page of the user manual. So you'll have 8 hours, 10 hours, 40 hours, 100 hours. There's a maintenance schedule on the back end there. I'm fairly certain that's pretty well most of it. We've covered cut capacities, we've covered weights, we've covered working widths. We've done a bit of everything. Obviously, she is belt driven as well. So you've got your adjuster, or you've got your belts behind the hoods here. Everything's easily accessible. Take a couple of bolts off, good to go. It's a timing belt transmission on the bigger girl. You obviously got counter blades up under the underside. We've touched on that as well. Your skids are complete, so you can drop those down to make sure your teeth stay off the ground ever so slightly. Not that you can see on this side. This one, obviously, they come standard with your BL blades. They can be swapped out for C3 carbides if you so choose. Obviously, blades give you a much more efficient, cleaner cut, where your carbides are blunt force trauma, push in, destroy, keep moving. Sort of been it. I think we've pretty well covered her all off. I'm just checking my quick notes, but no, I've got it all sorted. Obviously, warranty wise, 2 years parts, 12 months labour, back to base. So we'll work with you, we'll work with the extensive dealer network, we'll make sure wherever this particular unit's going, you're going to be taken care of. So again, 2 years parts, 12 months labour, back to base. That is our dealer's base. So we try and make sure the dealer is within cooey of you, because it is about keeping you operating and making you as efficient as possible. And if these units are down for any longer than a day or two, if they're between jobs, it's not so much of a drama, but if they're down for a day or two on a project, it sort of slows the whole project down. If you're clearing for earthworks or anything else, it's just going to push everything back, and it's not what we're about. So, guys, reach out if you're chasing any details. We will put you in contact with a dealer. We'll have a bit of a chat about specs. We'll make sure it's married up correctly to the carrier, to the size of carrier, to the weight distributions, to your lifting charts. We will go over from start to finish. It'll seem like a dating profile by the end of it, but there's a reason we ask as many questions as we ask, and there's a reason we've been doing this for the better part of 36 years and have 7 DCs and 400 staff members around the country, around the world, around the country. Oh, I'd be out of a job. 90 products and 400 submodels of said products. So just in these units, as the example, we've obviously got 2 different working sizes, 2 on that, 1 on this. We've got 2 different teeth options. We can obviously customize these things to make sure the application they're going into is correct for what your guys' needs are. So now I'm just rambling because I'm just rambling. So yeah, guys, have a great afternoon, and Check out all the other videos. Like, subscribe. First time I've ever said that. Like and subscribe. Going to try and get as many of these up as possible. I was going to say as few then. As many of these up as possible. We're going to try and start doing some interviews in the field as well with some end users. Again, it's about making you guys as comfortable as possible with these units so you can make an educated decision for what is right for your business. Return on investment is obviously what it's all about, and typically it's earth moving guys that are jumping over to this side, or there is dedicated vegetation management guys that we just want to make sure that whatever you've got running in your fleet, you're not overlapping, you're not double dipping, you're making sure you're ticking those boxes on the way through. So yeah, guys, have a great afternoon, and talk to you soon. Cheers.